She saved the Korean Mafia boss from being dragged away in cuffs, not knowing he would show up the next day to ask her out. The glass shattered before Zoe Brown could even process what was happening. 1 second she was refilling coffee at table 7. The next 4 LAPD officers stormed through the door of Han's kitchen like they owned the place. Hands on their weapons, eyes scanning the Friday night dinner crowd with predatory focus. "Nobody move! Kang Minho, stand up with your hands where we can see them!" The restaurant went silent. Forks stopped halfway to mouths. Conversations died mid-sentence. Zoe's hand trembled, coffee pot still suspended in the air, as every head turned toward the back corner booth where a man sat alone, reading something on his tablet over untouched bibimbap. He looked up slowly, unhurried, like 4 armed cops screaming his name was nothing more than a mild inconvenience. And God, even from across the restaurant, Zoe could see why the other waitresses whispered about him. Sharp jawline, dark eyes that held entire conversations without words. The kind of presence that made expensive suits look like armor. Kang Minho, the man who supposedly owned half of Koreatown. The man her co-worker Jenny had warned her about on her first day. Comes in every Friday at 8, orders the same thing, tips exactly 20%. And stay away from him, girl. That man is dangerous. "Officers, I'm having dinner." His voice carried across the silent restaurant, calm and controlled with just a hint of accent. "Perhaps you could wait outside?" "Stand up, now. Hands where we can see them." The lead cop, badge-reading Martinez, had his hand on his holster. The energy in the room shifted from shocked to terrified. Minho stood, movements deliberate and slow, hands raised to shoulder height. "There's been a mistake. The only mistake was you thinking you could traffic drugs through our city without consequences." Martinez moved forward, aggressive, and Zoe watched with growing unease as the other 3 officers fanned out, effectively boxing Minho in. "Turn around. Hands behind your back." Something about the scene felt wrong. The restaurant was full of witnesses, full of families with children, elderly couples, young professionals unwinding after work. This wasn't how arrests happened. This was a show, a demonstration. "Officers, please." Mrs. Han, the restaurant owner, stepped forward, her English heavily accented. "You causing scene. Many customer. Maybe you take outside?" "Ma'am, step back." One of the other cops, younger, hand already on his baton, moved toward her. "This doesn't concern you. This is my restaurant. And that's a criminal. So unless you want to be charged with harboring..." "He's done nothing wrong." Zoe's voice cut through the tension before her brain could catch up with her mouth. Every eye in the restaurant turned to her. Martinez's gaze was sharp, assessing, dangerous. "Excuse me?" Her heart hammered against her ribs, but something propelled her forward. Maybe it was the way they'd stormed in here, disrupting people's meals, scaring customers. Maybe it was the way that young cop had spoken to Mrs. Han, who'd given Zoe this job when no one else would. Or maybe it was the way Minho had looked at her for just a split second, something flickering in those dark eyes. Not fear, but something close to it. "I said he's done nothing wrong. He's been sitting in that booth for the past 45 minutes. Had 1 phone call, read something on his tablet, hasn't even touched his food. Whatever you think he did, it wasn't here." Martinez's jaw clenched. "And you are?" "Zoe Brown. I've been his server tonight. I've been watching him." Another lie, but it rolled off her tongue smooth as silk. "So unless you have a warrant, you're harassing a paying customer." The restaurant remained frozen. Somewhere in the back, something was beeping steadily. A forgotten timer, maybe, or Zoe's own pulse, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Miss Brown, I suggest you mind your business before you end up in cuffs too." Martinez took a step toward her, and she saw it then. The calculation in his eyes. The pleasure. He was enjoying this. "I am minding my business. This is my place of work. These are my customers, and you're disrupting service without cause." Her voice gained strength, even as her knees threatened to give out. "Now, I don't know what you think Mr. Kang did, but he's been here the entire evening. I can show you our security footage if you'd like. Timestamps and everything." She had no idea if the security cameras even worked. Mrs. Han had mentioned something about them being broken last month, but the confidence in her voice made Martinez hesitate. "Security footage?" "Yes, sir. Crystal clear. Shows him arriving at 7:52, being seated at 7:54, ordering at 7:58. He's been in that booth ever since. So unless your alleged crime happened in this restaurant, you've got the wrong guy. Minho hadn't moved, hadn't spoken, but Zoe could feel his attention on her, heavy and focused, like standing in a spotlight. Martinez exchanged glances with his fellow officers. A silent conversation passed between them. Finally, he turned back to Minho, and there was real anger in his expression now. Not the performative kind, the dangerous kind. This isn't over, Kang. We know what you're running. We know about your operations. And when we get the evidence we need, no little waitress is going to save you. Then I suggest you come back when you have that evidence, Officer Martinez. Minho's voice was silk over steel. And perhaps next time, a warrant and an appointment. I'm a busy man. The standoff stretched for what felt like hours but was probably only seconds. Then Martinez jerked his head toward the door, and the four officers retreated, but not before Martinez turned back to Zoe. You just made a big mistake, sweetheart. Lying to police. Protecting a known criminal. That's not going to end well for you. I didn't lie, and he's innocent until proven guilty. That's how it works, right? The door slammed behind them with enough force to rattle the windows. For a long moment, the restaurant remained silent. Then someone started clapping, then another. Within seconds, the entire restaurant erupted in applause. Zoe stood there, hands shaking so badly she had to clasp them together, adrenaline crash hitting her like a freight train. What had she just done? She'd lied to police, interfered with whatever they'd been trying to do, made herself a target for a man she didn't even know, a man who was supposedly dangerous, a man who was currently standing, straightening his jacket, and looking at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Zoe! Mrs. Hahn rushed over, grabbing her hands. You okay? You okay? I'm fine, Mrs. Hahn. I'm sorry they disrupted your restaurant. Sorry? No sorry. You very brave. Very brave. But Mrs. Hahn's eyes were worried beneath the praise. You go home now. Take rest of night off. I handle everything. Mrs. Hahn, I'm fine, really. I can finish my shift. She's right. You should go home. Minho's voice closer now. He'd moved silently, now standing just a few feet away. Up close, he was even more striking and more dangerous looking. There was something in his eyes, something ancient and weary and calculating. Those officers will be back, and next time, they'll be angry. I can handle myself. Can you? He tilted his head slightly, studying her like she was a puzzle he was trying to solve. You just lied to 4 police officers for a complete stranger. That's either remarkably stupid or remarkably brave. I haven't decided which yet. I didn't lie. You were here the whole time. Was I? A slight smile tugged at his mouth. How would you know? You said yourself you were watching me, but I counted. You looked at my booth exactly 3 times during the 45 minutes I was here. Once to take my order, once to bring my water, once to check if I needed anything. So tell me, Zoe Brown, why did you really do it? The question hung in the air between them. Why had she done it? She didn't know this man, didn't owe him anything. And everything Jenny had said about him, the rumors, the warnings, the whispered stories about people who crossed him, all of it should have kept her silent. Because they were wrong, she said finally, the way they came in here, the way they treated Mrs. Hahn, the way they were so sure of themselves, so ready to humiliate you in front of everyone. It was wrong, and I'm tired of watching wrong things happen and doing nothing. Something shifted in his expression. The calculation remained, but something else crept in beneath it. Curiosity, maybe, or respect. You have no idea who I am, do you? I know what people say, that you're connected, that you run things in Koreatown, that you're dangerous. She met his gaze steadily. I also know that none of that gives cops the right to storm in here without a warrant and harass you. Most people would disagree with you. Most people aren't me. The smile that crossed his face was quick, genuine, and somehow more dangerous than his serious expression. No, they certainly aren't. He reached into his jacket and Zoe tensed, but he just pulled out a business card. Simple, black, just a name and phone number. Those officers meant what they said. They'll come back. They'll make trouble for you. If that happens, call me. I don't need your protection. You're entitled to your opinion, but take the card anyway. He pressed it into her hand, his fingers warm against her palm. Consider it insurance, or payment for the security footage you mentioned. The footage from cameras that Mrs. Hahn told me were broken 3 weeks ago. Heat flooded Zoe's cheeks. He'd known she was lying, had known the entire time. Then why didn't you say anything? Because you were helping me, and because I wanted to see how far you go. He stepped closer, and Zoe's breath caught. He smelled like expensive cologne and something else, something darker. You're either going to be very useful to me, Zoe Brown, or you're going to be a problem I need to solve. I haven't decided which yet. Before she could respond, he turned and walked toward the door, pausing only to drop several bills on his table. Far more than the 20% tip Jenny had mentioned. Mr. Kang, he looked back. Thank you for defending me. It won't be forgotten. Then he was gone, the door closing softly behind him, leaving Zoe standing there with a business card burning a hole in her palm and the terrible certainty that her life had just changed in ways she couldn't begin to understand. That man is trouble, Jenny hissed, appearing at her elbow. I told you to stay away from him. He didn't do anything. The cops had no right. Zoe, wake up. You don't defend men like that. You don't even look at men like that. Do you know what he does? What he's connected to? I don't care. He was being harassed. Jenny grabbed her arm, eyes wide with something between fear and anger. Yes, you do care. You should care. Because now he knows your name. And men like Kang Minho, they don't forget people. They don't just walk away. You're on his radar now. And that's the last place you want to be. Zoe looked down at the card in her hand. Simple, elegant, dangerous. She should throw it away. Should forget this entire night happened. Should listen to Jenny's warning and stay as far away from Kang Minho as possible. Instead, she slipped the card into her apron pocket and went back to work. The rest of the shift passed in a blur. Customers whispered about what had happened. Some praised her. Others looked at her with pity, like she'd just signed her own death warrant. Mrs. Hahn kept shooting her worried glances, but said nothing. And Zoe kept working, kept smiling, kept pretending her hands weren't shaking every time she remembered Martinez's face, the promise in his eyes that this wasn't over. It was nearly midnight when she finally clocked out. The restaurant had closed an hour ago, but Mrs. Hahn had kept her busy with cleaning tasks, clearly reluctant to let her leave alone. You want me to call you cab? Mrs. Hahn asked, wringing her hands. I'm fine, Mrs. Hahn. The bus stop is right outside. Bus not safe. Late night. After what happened? I'll be fine. I've been taking the bus home at midnight for 3 years. Tonight's no different. But it was different. She could feel it in the air, in the way the streetlights seemed dimmer, the shadows deeper. The walk to the bus stop felt longer than usual. Zoe clutched her bag tighter, keys threaded between her fingers, the way her brother had taught her. The street was quiet, too quiet. No traffic, no pedestrians, just her footsteps echoing off the pavement. She was halfway to the stop when the squad car pulled up beside her. Her heart sank. Martinez was driving. The same young cop from earlier sat in the passenger seat. Zoe Brown. Martinez's voice drifted through the open window, casual and threatening. Walking home alone at this hour? That's not safe. I'm fine, officer. Thank you for your concern. She kept walking. The car rolled alongside her, matching her pace. You know, I did some checking on you after we left the restaurant. Clean record. Not even a parking ticket. Works 2 jobs. Sends money home to her mother in Atlanta every month. Model citizen. He paused. Makes me wonder why a model citizen would lie to police to protect a criminal. I didn't lie. Sure you didn't. The car stopped. Both officers got out, and Zoe's pulse spiked. The street was empty. No witnesses, no cameras. Just her and 2 cops who'd already proven they weren't above bending the rules. Here's what's going to happen, Martinez said, moving to block her path. You're going to tell me everything you know about Kang Minho, his schedule, his associates, what he does at that restaurant every Friday. And if you're very cooperative, we'll forget about your little performance tonight. I don't know anything. I'm just his waitress. You're lying, again. He stepped closer, and Zoe fought the urge to run. Running would make it worse. Running always made it worse. Maybe a night in holding will help your memory. We can charge you with obstruction, interfering with a police investigation, make it very uncomfortable for you. You have no grounds to arrest me. We have whatever grounds we say we have, sweetheart. Who do you think they'll believe? Two decorated LAPD officers or a waitress with a savior complex? His hand moved toward her arm, and Zoe jerked back. Don't touch me. Or what? You gonna call your criminal friend? You think he'll come running to save you? She won't need to call. The voice came from behind Martinez, smooth and cold as winter. All three of them turned. Minho stood at the mouth of the alley, hands in his pockets, expression carefully neutral. But there was nothing neutral about the two men flanking him. Both tall, both built like they knew how to hurt people, both watching the officers with the kind of stillness that preceded violence. Kang. Martinez's hand moved toward his weapon. This is police business. This is harassment. Minho moved forward, unhurried, dangerous. And I'm fairly certain accosting a young woman on a dark street at midnight violates about 17 different policies. Shall we call your supervisor and ask? We're conducting an investigation. Without a female officer present, without your body cameras activated, how convenient. Minho's smile didn't reach his eyes. I have 3 cameras on this street, Officer Martinez, all of them recording, all of them with crystal clear audio. Would you like to continue this investigation? Or would you prefer to leave before I send this footage to Internal Affairs? The standoff stretched. Martinez's jaw clenched so tight Zoe could hear his teeth grinding. Finally, he stepped back. This isn't over, Kang. It never is with you, Martinez. But perhaps next time, pick on someone who isn't under my protection. He gestured toward Zoe, and she felt the weight of that statement. Under his protection. What did that mean? What did that cost? The officers climbed back into their car and peeled away, tires screeching. Silence fell over the street. Minho turned to her, and his expression softened slightly. Are you hurt? No, I'm fine. How did you... I had someone watching the restaurant to make sure those officers didn't come back. When you left, he followed at a distance. He moved closer, studying her face. You should have called me. I don't need a babysitter. Clearly you do, if you're walking alone at midnight after publicly humiliating 4 cops. There was no heat in his words, just statement of fact. Zoe, those men will keep coming. They'll make your life hell until you either give them what they want or break completely. You understand that, don't you? I'm not afraid of them. You should be. Fear keeps you alive. He gestured to a black car idling at the curb. Come on, I'll take you home. I can take the bus. The bus doesn't come for another 40 minutes, and I'm offering, unless you'd prefer to stand here arguing while Martinez comes back with reinforcements. Zoe looked at the car, at Minho, at the 2 silent men who'd retreated to give them privacy but were clearly still watching. Everything in her screamed that getting in that car was a mistake, that accepting help from a man like Kang Minho came with a price she couldn't afford. But she was tired, so tired, and her feet hurt, and the thought of standing at that bus stop for 40 minutes, vulnerable and exposed, made her want to cry. Fine, but just a ride, nothing more. Nothing more, he agreed, but something in his eyes suggested he was lying. The car was exactly what she'd expected. Leather seats, tinted windows, the kind of vehicle that cost more than she'd make in 5 years. One of Minho's men opened the door, and she slid in, hyper-aware of Minho sliding in beside her. Where to? Glendale, near the 2. She rattled off her address, and the driver pulled away from the curb without a word. They drove in silence for several minutes. Zoe stared out the window, watching Koreatown blur past, neon signs reflecting off wet pavement. You didn't have to do that, she said finally. Which part? Defending you tonight? Or defending you in the restaurant? Either, both. I'm not your responsibility. No, he agreed. But you made yourself my business the moment you lied to those cops. And I take care of my business. She turned to look at him. In the dim light from passing street lamps, his features were sharp, almost severe. I didn't do it to get your attention or your protection. I did it because it was right. I know. That's what makes you interesting. He met her gaze and she felt pinned by it. Most people operate on self-interest. They calculate cost and benefit. What's in it for me? But you saw injustice and reacted. No calculation, no hesitation. That's either admirably principled or dangerously naive. And which do you think it is? I'm still deciding. The car pulled up outside her apartment building. Small, rundown, nothing like the neighborhoods they'd just driven through. Minho looked at it, expression unreadable. This is where you live? Not all of us can afford penthouses in downtown. I didn't mean it as an insult, just an observation. He turned to face her fully. Zoe, I'm going to be honest with you. Those cops aren't going to stop. Martinez has been trying to take me down for 3 years. He's failed every time, and it's made him desperate. Desperate cops do stupid things. Dangerous things. What are you saying? I'm saying you've put yourself in his crosshairs, and that means you're in danger. Real danger. The kind that doesn't go away just because you wish it would. Zoe's throat tightened. So what do I do? You have 2 options. 1, disappear, leave LA, start over somewhere they can't find you. I'll help you do that if you choose. Give you money, new identity, whatever you need. And option 2, you let me protect you. You accept that you're part of my world now, whether you want it to be or not, and you trust me to keep you safe. Trust you? A man I don't even know. A man who is exactly what you think I am, he interrupted. I'm not going to lie to you, Zoe. I'm not a good man. I do things that would horrify you. I operate in shadows and deal with people who'd slit your throat for looking at them wrong. But I'm also a man who keeps his word, and I'm giving you my word now. If you trust me, I will keep you safe, no matter what it costs. She should say no, should choose option 1, take his money and disappear. Start over somewhere safe, somewhere far from Korean mafia bosses and corrupt cops, and danger that crackled in the air like lightning before a storm. I need to think about it, she heard herself say. Fair enough, but don't take too long. Martinez isn't a patient man. He pulled out another card, different from the first one. This number reaches me directly, day or night. If anything happens, anything at all, you call. Understand? Zoe took the card, fingers brushing his. The contact was brief but electric. Why are you doing this? Really? It can't just be because I lied to some cops. You want the truth? He leaned closer, and she could smell his cologne again, could see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes. Because in 20 years of operating in this city, no one has ever defended me without expecting something in return. No one has ever put themselves at risk for me out of simple principle. And I find that I'm curious about you, Zoe Brown. Very curious. Before she could respond, his driver opened her door. The spell broke. Zoe climbed out, legs unsteady, mind reeling. Thank you for the ride. Thank you for tonight. I meant what I said earlier. It won't be forgotten. The car pulled away and Zoe stood on the sidewalk, watching it disappear into the night. Both cards burned in her pocket. 2 paths, 2 futures. And somewhere in the darkness, she knew Martinez was watching, waiting, planning his revenge. Inside her apartment, Zoe locked the door, threw the deadbolt, and checked every window. Her hands were still shaking. She made tea she didn't drink and sat on her couch, staring at the 2 business cards laid out on her coffee table. 2 direct lines to Kang Minho. 2 invitations into a world she'd spent her entire life avoiding. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. Did you get home safely? Minho's voice, warm and dangerous. How did you get this number? I have access to many things, Zoe. Your phone number is hardly classified information. She should be angry, should feel violated. Instead, she felt something else. Something that scared her more than Martinez's threats. I got home fine. Your driver was very professional. He's paid to be. Listen, I know I gave you time to think, but there's something you should know. Martinez filed a report tonight, claims you interfered with an investigation, threatened officers, and are a person of interest in my organization. What? That's insane. I know you didn't. But the report is there. Official record, which means he's building a case against you, or at least building leverage to force you to cooperate. Zoe's blood ran cold. So what do I do? You come work for me. The words hung in the air. Excuse me? Leave the restaurant. Come work at one of my establishments. I own a gallery in Little Tokyo. Legitimate, clean, pays 3 times what Mrs. Han can offer. You'd be safe there. Protected. You're offering me a job? I'm offering you a way out. A way to get clear of Martinez while staying in LA. You'd report to me directly. No shady dealings, no illegal activity, just normal gallery work. And the benefit of having someone watching your back. This is crazy. Yes, he agreed. It is. But it's also your best option. Unless you'd prefer to wait for Martinez to manufacture enough evidence to arrest you? Or worse, to start going after your family? Your mother in Atlanta? Your brother in... Don't. Her voice came out sharp. Don't bring my family into this. Then don't make me have to protect them too. Take the job, Zoe. Let me keep you safe. It's a simple transaction. Nothing about this is simple. No, he said softly. It's not. But sometimes the complicated choice is the only one that makes sense. Think about it. I'll call you tomorrow. He hung up before she could respond. Zoe sat there holding her phone, her entire world tilting on its axis. 24 hours ago, she'd been a waitress. Simple life, simple problems. Now she was caught between corrupt cops and a Korean crime boss, with a job offer that sounded too good to be true, and probably was. She looked at the cards again, at his number, at the promise of protection and the price it would surely demand. Her phone buzzed again, this time a text from an unknown number. You have a beautiful apartment, second floor, corner unit. Your landlord really should fix that lock on the fire escape door. Ice flooded her veins. She ran to her window, but the street below was empty. The message could have been from Minho's people, could have been Martinez, could have been someone else entirely. The message was clear. You're not safe here. Zoe grabbed her keys and her phone. She'd go to her friend Tasha's place across town, stay there tonight, figure things out in the morning. But when she opened her apartment door, a man stood in the hallway. Not one of Minho's men. This one was different, older, harder, with a scar running down his left cheek. Miss Brown, Mr. Kang sent me. He thought you might need additional security tonight. His voice was gravelly, accent thick. The fire escape message spooked you, yes? That was one of our men checking your building security. Perhaps not the most tactful approach. I was just leaving. I know, to go to Tasha Williams's apartment on Melrose. But her building has no security, no controlled access. You'd be even more vulnerable there. He pulled out his phone, showing her a photo. Martinez's squad car parked down the street. He's waiting to see where you go, who you run to, building his case. So I'm trapped? You're protected. There's a difference. May I suggest you stay here tonight? I'll be outside your door. My partner will be watching the fire escape. Mr. Kang has already arranged for a security system to be installed tomorrow. You'll be safe. I don't want his protection. Unfortunately, Miss Brown, you have it whether you want it or not. The moment you defended him, you became his responsibility. That's not how I see it. Mr. Kang is a man of honor. You protected him, he protects you. It's the way of things. The man bowed slightly. My name is Chen. I've worked for Mr. Kang for 15 years. He's a good man to have on your side, a very bad man to have as an enemy. And which one am I? That depends entirely on you. Zoe stepped back into her apartment and closed the door. Through the peephole, she could see Chen settle into a position against the opposite wall. Alert, watchful. She was being protected, or imprisoned. She wasn't entirely sure which. Sleep didn't come. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the entire night. The cops, Minho's eyes, Martinez's threats, the job offer, the protection she hadn't asked for but desperately needed. At 3 a.m., her phone lit up with another text. Minho. Can't sleep either. I'm guessing you have questions. Before she could stop herself, she called him. He answered on the first ring. Zoe. Why me? Really? Don't give me that curious line again. Why are you going to all this trouble? Because Martinez will use you to get to me. And I don't let innocent people suffer for my sins. It's a rule I have. You have rules. You're a criminal. Even criminals have codes. Mine is simple. I don't hurt innocents. I don't traffic people. I don't deal in anything that destroys families. And I don't let people who help me get burned for it. His voice was quiet, sincere in a way that scared her. You took a risk for me tonight. The least I can do is ensure you don't pay for it. And the job offer? The protection? That's all altruistic? No, he admitted. I also find you fascinating. And I'd like to get to know you better. But those are separate issues. Even if you tell me to fuck off and never speak to me again, you'll still have Chen outside your door. You'll still get that security system. You'll still be protected. I can't afford that kind of protection. I'm not asking you to pay for it. Consider it an apology. My life has complicated yours, that's on me. Zoe closed her eyes. This was insane. All of it. The gallery job. Is it real? Completely. I own the Sanghwa Gallery in Little Tokyo. Art from Korean and Korean American artists. It's a passion project. My cousin manages it. She's been looking for an assistant curator. You'd be perfect. I don't know anything about art. You know about people, about presentation, about making things beautiful. That's what the restaurant business taught you. This would be the same thing, just different context. And you'd be safe. My cousin's gallery is neutral ground. Even Martinez wouldn't dare touch you there. Too much visibility, too many witnesses from the art world. This is insane. Yes, he agreed. But so is letting Martinez destroy you to get to me. So is pretending you can go back to normal after tonight. You're already in this, Zoe. The only question is whether you want me helping you navigate it or not. I need to think. Think fast. Martinez will make his move soon. Tomorrow, probably. He'll call you in for questioning. Maybe search your apartment. If he finds those business cards I gave you, he'll use them as evidence you're connected to me. Then I'll throw them away. And my number in your phone? The security footage from tonight showing me picking you up? The witness reports from the restaurant? He doesn't need the cards, Zoe. He has enough already. She was trapped, completely and totally trapped. Fine, I'll take the job, but I have conditions. Name them. I don't do anything illegal, ever. I don't want to know about your other businesses. I show up, do gallery work, get paid, go home. That's it. Agreed. And if I decide this isn't working, I can leave. No strings, no threats, no retaliation. Agreed. Though I should mention that once you're under my protection, leaving doesn't end the protection, it just ends the job. Why? Because Martinez won't stop just because you're not working for me. You'll still be the woman who defended me, who embarrassed him. That doesn't go away. God, he was right. This was her life now. One impulsive decision to do the right thing, and everything had changed. When do I start? Tomorrow. I'll send a car at 9. You'll meet my cousin, see the gallery, start transitioning out of the restaurant. I'll handle Mrs. Han. Make sure she understands this isn't her fault. She gave me a job when no one else would. I don't want her to think I'm abandoning her. She'll understand, and I'll make a sizable donation to help her hire additional staff. She won't suffer from this. Zoe wanted to argue more, wanted to push back, but exhaustion was finally catching up with her. Okay, fine. 9 a.m. I'll be ready. Thank you for trusting me. I don't trust you, she said honestly, but I don't have a choice. Fair enough. Trust can come later. Sleep, Zoe. Chen will keep you safe. He hung up and Zoe set her phone down. Through her bedroom walls, she could hear the faint sounds of the city, sirens in the distance, a couple arguing in the apartment below. The ordinary soundtrack of L.A. at night. Except nothing about her life was ordinary anymore. She must have dozed off because the next thing she knew, sunlight was streaming through her window and someone was knocking on her door. She checked her phone. 8:47 a.m. Chen's voice came through the door. Miss Brown, your car will be here in 15 minutes. Mr. Kang suggested you bring identification and any personal items from your locker at the restaurant. Zoe moved on autopilot, shower, coffee, the professional black dress she saved for job interviews she never got. By the time she opened her door at 9:02, Chen was gone, replaced by a younger Korean woman with kind eyes and a professional smile. Miss Brown, I'm Minji. I'll be driving you this morning. The car was different from last night's. A sedan, discreet, nothing that screamed money or danger. They drove through morning traffic, leaving Glendale behind for the Arts District in Little Tokyo. The gallery was stunning. Glass front, exposed brick, enormous paintings visible even from the street. The kind of place Zoe would walk past and never dare to enter. Mr. Kang is inside, Minji said, opening her door. His cousin is with him. Zoe stepped into the gallery and her breath caught. The space was enormous, flooded with natural light. Traditional Korean paintings hung beside modern installations, sculptures that seemed to defy gravity, photography that made her heart ache with its beauty. You like it? Minho's voice came from behind a massive canvas. He stepped into view and Zoe's pulse jumped. In daylight, he was somehow more and less dangerous. Black t-shirt, dark jeans, no suit armor, just a man who happened to own a gallery and run a criminal empire. It's beautiful, she admitted. My cousin's work. She has an eye for talent. He gestured and a woman appeared from the back office. Late 30s, elegant, with the same sharp features as Minho, but warmer eyes. Zoe Brown, meet Kang Seo-yeon. She runs this place. Call me Seo. The woman's handshake was firm, her smile genuine. Minho says you need a job. But let me be clear, I don't hire charity cases. If you work here, you'll earn your place. Understood? Zoe liked her immediately. Understood. Good. Let's see if you're worth the trouble. For the next 2 hours, Seo showed her around, explained the business, introduced her to the 2 other employees, asked pointed questions about her background, her skills, her knowledge of art. By the end, Zoe's head was spinning. You're hired, Seo said abruptly. You don't bullshit me, you're not intimidated by artists, and you actually listen. That's rare. Start tomorrow, 8 a.m. sharp. That's it? No trial period? Minho vouched for you. That's enough. Seo glanced at her cousin, and something unspoken passed between them. Though I should tell you, working here means you're family, and family means you follow the rules. No questions about what Minho does. No judgment. You see something, you don't talk about it. Clear? Crystal. Good, now get out of here. Minho's been hovering all morning. Take him with you. SEO shooed them toward the door, and Zoe found herself on the sidewalk with Minho, both of them blinking in the sunshine. She's intense, Zoe said. She's the best. Raised me after my parents died. Taught me everything I know. He started walking, and Zoe fell into step beside him. Come on, I'll buy you lunch. We need to talk about Martinez. They ended up in a small ramen shop 3 blocks away. Private booth in the back. 2 of Minho's men at a table by the door, watching the entrance. This is going to be my life now, isn't it? Zoe said, gesturing to the guards. Always being watched. Always protected. For a while, until Martinez gets bored or I give him something else to focus on. And how long will that take? Honestly, I don't know. He's had a personal vendetta against me for years. Ever since... He stopped. Sorry, you said you didn't want to know about my business. I said I didn't want to be involved in it. That's different from understanding why a cop is trying to destroy both our lives. Minho studied her across the table. Fair point. Martinez's son died 3 years ago. Drug overdose. Fentanyl-laced pills he bought at a club in Koreatown. Martinez blamed me. Said I controlled the drug trade in the area, so it was my fault. Did you? The question hung between them. Minho didn't flinch. No, I don't deal drugs. Never have. It's a line I won't cross. But Martinez doesn't believe that, or doesn't want to. He needs someone to blame, and I'm convenient. So he's been harassing you for 3 years? Harassing, investigating, trying to build a case. He's obsessed, and now you're part of that obsession because you defended me. Their ramen arrived. They ate in silence for a few minutes. Finally, Zoe set down her chopsticks. Last night, you said you'd been searching for someone for 3 years. The person who saved your life. Was that true, or were you just being dramatic? Minho's hand stilled. It was true. Tell me about it. Why? Because if I'm trusting you with my life, I want to know who you really are. Not the rumors. Not the reputation. You. He set down his own chopsticks, and for a long moment, he just looked at her. 3 years ago, I was driving home late. Someone ran me off the road. Deliberate. My car went into the reservoir off Mulholland. I was trapped, drowning, and someone dove in after me, broke my window, pulled me out, performed CPR until I was breathing. I never saw their face clearly, just hands, strong hands that wouldn't let me go, even when I told them to save themselves. When I woke up, the paramedics were there. The person who saved me was gone. Did you try to find them? For 3 years, hired investigators, checked hospital records, police reports, security footage. Nothing. It's like they were a ghost. But I never forgot, never stopped looking. Something in his voice made Zoe's chest tight. Why? Why was it so important? Because in my world, people don't help without expecting something in return. They don't risk their lives for strangers. And I needed to understand why someone would do that for me. what they saw that was worth saving. The vulnerability in his admission took her breath away. Maybe they just saw someone who needed help. Maybe it wasn't deeper than that. Maybe, but I wanted to thank them, to tell them that they gave me a second chance, that I tried to use it to be better than I was. He smiled self-deprecatingly. Not sure I succeeded, but I tried. I think you're better than you give yourself credit for. Why? Because I'm protecting you? That's self-interest. You're valuable to me now. Is that all I am? The question came out before she could stop it. I mean, as an employee, to the gallery. No, he said quietly. You're not. The air between them shifted, charged, dangerous in a completely different way than corrupt cops or criminal empires. Minho, I know. Too fast. Too complicated. You just started working for me. But Zoe, I meant what I said last night. You defended me without expecting anything in return. Do you know how rare that is? How impossible? I defended you because it was right, not because, I know. That's exactly my point. He leaned forward and she could see gold flecks in his dark eyes. I've spent 15 years in this life, building power, building walls, trusting no one except blood family. And then you walk into my life and tear down those walls with one simple act of kindness. It's terrifying and exhilarating and completely inappropriate given our situation. But it's true. Zoe's heart hammered against her ribs. I'm not interested in being someone's project or obsession or whatever this is. This isn't any of those things. This is me being honest for possibly the first time in years and telling you that I'd like to take you to dinner. Not as your employer, not as your protector, as a man interested in getting to know a woman who fascinates him. That's all. That's all. Minho, there's nothing simple about this. I work for you now. I'm under your protection. There's a massive power imbalance here, not to mention the fact that I barely know you, and what I do know should probably make me run in the opposite direction. You're right about all of it, which is why I'm not pressuring you. I'm just putting it out there. Honest interest. Your move. She should say no, should establish boundaries, should protect herself from whatever this was. But when she looked at him, she didn't see the dangerous criminal or the powerful boss. She saw the vulnerability he'd just shown her. The man who'd spent 3 years searching for someone who saved him. The man who'd protected her without being asked. One dinner, she heard herself say. One. And if it's weird or uncomfortable or crosses too many lines, we never speak of it again. Just boss and employee. Nothing more. The smile that crossed his face was brilliant, genuine. It transformed him from dangerous to devastating. One dinner, I can work with that. But not tonight, or this week. I need time to settle into the job, to figure out this new normal, and to make sure Martinez isn't about to arrest me. Fair enough. Though Martinez won't arrest you. I took care of that this morning. Excuse me? Made a few calls, applied some pressure. That report he filed last night? It's been flagged for review by Internal Affairs. Seems several witnesses from the restaurant came forward with statements contradicting his account, including Mrs. Hahn, who has security footage showing the entire interaction. I thought her cameras were broken. They were, until I had them fixed this morning and installed new ones, with footage showing exactly what happened. Time-stamped. Crystal clear. Zoe stared at him. You did all that since last night? I protect what's mine. You defended me. That makes you mine to protect. The possessive edge in his voice should have bothered her. Instead, it sent warmth flooding through her chest. I'm not a possession. Poor choice of words. You're under my protection. Better? Slightly. She smiled despite herself. Thank you. For the cameras. For Mrs. Hahn. For everything. Don't thank me yet. Martinez won't let this go. He'll find another angle. Another way to come at us. But at least we bought some time. Us. When did we become an us? The moment you lied to those cops. Sorry, Zoe Brown, but you're stuck with me now. They finished lunch with easier conversation. He told her about growing up in LA, about CO raising him, about his love of art. She told him about Atlanta, about her family, about her dreams of doing something meaningful with her life. By the time they left the restaurant, the sun was high and hot, and Zoe felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Terrifying, fragile hope that maybe, Just maybe, her life was about to become something extraordinary. "Car's here," Minho said, gesturing to where Minji waited. "I'll have her take you home. Chen will be outside your building tonight, and until the security system is installed. You'll have my number if anything happens." "This is really happening, isn't it? This whole new life." "Yes, is that okay?" Zoe thought about her cramped apartment, her dead-end job at the restaurant, the monotonous routine that had been slowly suffocating her. She thought about corrupt cops and dangerous criminals and power imbalances she didn't fully understand. And she thought about the way Minho had looked at her across that table. Like she mattered, like she was worth protecting, worth knowing, worth everything he'd already done. "Yeah," she said finally. "It's okay." "Good. I'll see you at the gallery tomorrow, 8 a.m. sharp. SEO doesn't tolerate tardiness." He started to walk away, then turned back. "Zoe, for what it's worth, I'm glad those cops walked into that restaurant last night. I'm glad you defended me. Not because of the protection or the dinner or any of that, but because meeting you feels like finding something I didn't know I was missing. And I think, maybe, you needed to be found too." He walked away before she could respond, leaving her standing on the sidewalk, with Minji patiently waiting, and her entire world shifted on its axis. She climbed into the car, and as they pulled away, she caught a glimpse of Minho in the rearview mirror. He stood on the sidewalk, phone to his ear, every inch the powerful boss. But for just a moment, he looked back, found her eyes in the mirror, and smiled. One dinner, she reminded herself. That's all she'd agreed to. But as the car carried her home through the streets of LA, Zoe couldn't shake the feeling that one dinner would never be enough. That she'd just stepped into a story that was only beginning, a story that would change everything. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. She knew who it was before she even opened it. "Thank you for saying yes. To the job, to dinner, to trusting me with your safety. I won't let you down. M." Zoe stared at the message, thumb hovering over the reply button. Finally, she typed, "Don't make me regret this." His response came immediately. "I won't. That's a promise, and I keep my promises." She believed him. God help her, she actually believed him. And that was either the bravest or most foolish thing she'd ever done. Time would tell which.